Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I am Kz.
And I am Titi. Happy New Year and welcome to H2O with Kz and Titi. And speaking of H2O, Keziah, can you tell us why we are here? What the show is all about, what we should expect so that everyone can be in sync with the program as it goes on.
Thank you so much, Titi. First of all, before I introduce H2O, I just want to say you look amazing, as always. And but basically, to move on, H2O is actually a joint campaign by the Youngo Water and Climate Working Group, International Water Association, and Unify on a campaign for the UN 2023 Water Conference. So basically, it is a talk show, and each week we welcome guests from different backgrounds to talk about the water and climate movement, from on like lifestyles, on reports. So it's basically kind of like a gossip style, very informal, and yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. That sounds so interesting. And to think we are in collaboration with the Younger Water and Climate Working Group and the International Water Association. It's so nice to see a lot of people on board for this session. And speaking of water, do you know that this year is the UN Water Conference here and it's happening in the US? The first of its kind since 1977.
Really? I didn't know that. That 1977, that's around 46 years ago. And the second one is this year. Wow, that's very huge. Are you coming?
Of course, girl, it's in the US. You think I'll miss it? I wouldn't miss it for a what. And not only will I be coming out, we're getting to see you. But the most important thing about this gathering is that all stakeholders will be coming together to discuss about water and its relations to climate issues and everything. And a lot of special guests will be at this conference discussing and exchanging data and networking. And it will be great to see everyone because it's the first of its kind, like you rightly said, in 46 years. So this is really, really amazing. And speaking of special guests, so who do you have for us this day, Keziah?
Wow, thank you so much for that, TT. I am actually very honored to introduce our special guest for today, who is Dr. Sulagna Mishra. Dr. Sulagna Mishra is the scientific officer in the Hydrology, Water, and Cryosphere branch at the World Meteorological Organization in Geneva. At WMO, she leads the annual State of Global Water Resources Report and supports the technical development and implementation of a globally consistent hydrological status and outlook system. Dr. Sulagna is an environmental scientist specializing in hydrological, water quality modeling, and water resource management. She has a background in civil engineering and a master's degree in hydrology and environmental management. For her doctorate at TU Dresden, she developed model based solutions to serve as hydrological and water quality monitoring and planning tools. These models assist watershed managers to ensure optimal water quality in rivers during extreme events like flood and droughts. Dr. Solagna also has worked at international organizations, private sector companies, and research laboratories and universities in Europe, the USA, and India. She has published several peer reviewed articles and developed open source modeling softwares. Wow, TT, this amazing bio. She really is a girl boss.
Yeah.
And speaking of such,
You can say that again. All I can just say from my hand is wow, wow, wow. To think she's a female in this world and she's doing so much. Wow, this is it's kind of intimidating
yeah,
to be
I feel
honest, but
intimidated and inspired. Yeah.
also, it makes me feel so honored and privileged to have her on the show. And not only that, I get to ask other questions because right now I don't know anything, and I'm so excited and so anxious to hear from her. So, with no much further ado, all our audience from everywhere would like you to join us as we welcome the guest for the day, Dr. Mishra. Oh, good to see you finally. Good afternoon. How are you? Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on where you are. And it's such an honor, it's such a privilege. Thank you for being here. Thank you for honoring us, and thank you for lending your voice so that we can know what it's actually, or what climate issues are actually all about. With that, I would like to start with my first question, because when they read the bio and I was seeing doctor in this, masters in this, I wanted to ask you, how has your experience in WMO and as the project lead for 2021 State of the Global Resources Report, how has your experience been so far?
It has been very kind. It has been very kind of you to invite me to this show. I'm very happy to be here and see you two lovely ladies. My experience so far with the report has been really good. I mean, as a relatively new staff working at WMO, I took the preparation of this report and to publish this report. This was the first one, as you said. It's a pilot report, so it was really interesting, and it was also a wish come true for all of us in the hydrology community to have this report, which gives us an overview of the quantitative and quantitative assessment of how the water resources look at a global scale. So it has been really good. It came with this fair yeah portion of challenges, of course, of data availability and how to get it done, has to be technically sound and all of that. So we had to troubleshoot, and we had to find innovative way to get it done. But it was really interesting. It was one of the most interesting experiences so far, I would say.
Oh, that's great. And speaking of experiences, I know with the United Nations, you guys travel every time. Like, growing up, this is one of my girls, like, oh, when I join these people, I'm just going to be traveling from Bahamas to the US, everywhere. So how has it been for you, and how are you coping with all these travelings?
I mean, if you talk about traveling, I'm based in Geneva, in the headquarters of WMO. Currently, as we speak, I'm in my hotel room in Oxford, in the UK. So in the
Oh,
last week, I have been here as from WMO. We are setting up the globally consistent hydrological status and outlook system. So it gives globally consistent hydrological forecasting, and we are here to basically talk about the development of
Wait,
certain sales.
whoa, whoa,
wait a minute, Dr. Mishra, or Sulagna, I should say. Before you proceed, can you tell us about
yeah,
what is hydrological forecasting? Like, for our
exactly.
viewers, I lost you in hydrological,
Oh,
unfortunately,
okay.
but
Okay. Well, because I and Kitty, every time you go out, you definitely check your phones for seeing if it's going to rain, what's the temperature, how should I dress, right? That's where the focus that you check every time. Do you ever check, am I going to have water tomorrow in my taps? Do I have water
No,
in the next 3 months? Yeah,
no.
that's basically hydrological forecasting.
Oh,
That's forecasting of knowing how our hydrological situation, our water status is going to be in the next months, in the next season, or tomorrow. So that's forecasting basically.
oh, really? Thanks for explaining that, because when I heard the word ideological forecasting, I was like, oh, here we go again. But now, at least we all know. So next time, Kazaya, you better check if you're going to be having water for the next 3 days. Okay. That takes me now to the next question. What is the report and what is the important? You spoke, when you were talking, you talked about the 2021 report. For someone like me, for people like our audience who are not scientists, who are not science inclined, who don't really know what this is all about, for artists, for people who are footballers, models, we really don't care about this. But can you please explain to us the importance of this report and how does it relate to every one of us?
Sure, very happy to. Well, we all know that we cannot manage something that we don't know how much is there, right? We cannot manage something that we don't monitor well, and we also cannot manage or predict or plan if we don't see an overall picture of what's happening in a large scale. So this report basically brings in together, it gives us an assessment of how our water year, so to say, how 2021, that the year 2021 in terms of water resources looked at a global scale. So we basically take the different variables, like how much water was there in the rivers, that's called stream flow, how much water was there or how much total fresh water was there in different parts of the world in comparison to how the average looked like. So was it wetter, was it drier, did we I mean, how we are doing in terms of our water economics, so to say. So that's what this report gives. I mean, we have had several reports that give us an overall idea of water in different themes, so water and economics, water and jobs, and so on. But this is the first one that gives us an idea of how much quantitatively, how much do we have. And that's what the report is all about. It's called the state of global water resources, and that's what it basically serves.
Thank you
And
so much.
I have to say that again, that it's the first, the 2021 was a pilot report, so we are still developing, and
Okay.
WMO wants to do it in a annual scale, but it's
Okay.
a proof of concept. So we saw that it has great potential, and we should do it every year.
Oh, thank you so much. I learned a new word today, water economics. I only think it was economics had to do with finances, but now I learned there is water economics. For the next question, Keziah, would you please do us the honor of asking the next set of questions?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for shedding light on the report. Doctor, I,
Just Sulagna.
just Sulagna. Sorry, I kept rehearsing in my mind Dr. Sulagna in the past few days, so that's why it's embedded Dr. Sulagna. But I know that you told me to call you Sulagna, so yeah, Sulagna. Speaking of the report, it's great that you told us like what is it like. It's kind of like giving us an overview of the status of water in a global perspective. Speaking of next steps, you mentioned that this is like a pilot. Report. So what's next? How do you see this improve? Like, how can our viewers, get in touch, or like, what can we expect in the upcoming years, months in terms of this report?
Very interesting question. Yes, I mean, as I said, this is a pilot report, it's a proof of concept, and we carved our way to produce the first one. Of course, we learned a lot, and that comes with how do we look forward, and what are we going to improve. So we are going to include more variables from next year. So this time we only saw how much water was available in the river, how much was available in the total land storage, so to say, total terrestrial water storage, it's called. So in the next reports, we are going to include more variables, like we are going to include or we are going to try to improve as much as possible, how much is available in groundwater, because some parts of the world are heavily dependent on groundwater, and when we are not representing that, we are losing a lot of our audience there. We are also going to show how much is available in soil moisture, because this the soil layer also stores or entraps a lot of water in there. So we are going to try to include all of these, and we are going to include more models. So I told you in the beginning that this year it was a combination of models and observations. So we are going to bring more of that on board. So more modelers on board, and also more countries on board who can give us also more observations that we can use in this report.
Wow,
Oh,
thank you
thank
so
you
much for
so
that.
much.
Um,
Go ahead.
Sulagna, moving on to the next question, but before it, I just want to say thank you so much for shedding light on how we're going to see this improve, and we're glad to hear that there's going to be collaboration in terms of bringing in more people, because in terms of climate action, we can't do it alone. We need to do it together. It's a collaborative effort. And in terms of, and talking about effort, how do you think young people can get involved? Like, what opportunities for youth are there to get engaged?
Many actually. Yeah, I will answer this in three major points. The first I see is citizen science. I mean, no, there are several platforms where youth and general public can get engaged, specifically in terms of data and information, and help us bring all of this together. So, citizen science definitely. Second, there is a big disconnect, as we see in the pyramid, the so-called science, service, and policy pyramid. So the youth today, the general public, there's so many there people are working so much in science and research, and they're doing amazing work, and we see that the science is quite ahead of time, but unfortunately this doesn't translate into policy, or it doesn't often doesn't help people in their day-to-day life almost immediately. It doesn't happen. This is what we want to see, and this is where people can come together and just ask themselves a question: what we are doing, how does it make, or how does it make into the real world? And this is something that youth can definitely do, who are doing science, or anything that's related to water, or research. And the last one, of course, is advocacy. In these global products that we produce, or the voices that we have in the global level, the youth can ensure that this cascades to the local level. So you can ensure that we are producing these reports, which gives certain information, which gives certain strong messages, but we have to ensure that this reaches the last layer. The action needs to be taken, and this lies really in the hands of the youth to a large extent. So these are the three things that they can do: citizen science, make sure there is a connection between what you're doing to the policy level, and also to have the power of advocacy.
Oh, thank you so much, so much. We've learned a lot. Thank you so much, Dr. Misha. When you started this show, I had no idea what you were going to come to talk about, or how this report actually impacted me as a youth, as a mom, as a student. But thank you for sharing and explaining how this affects us and how youth can participate. Because that is one of the questions I know that is on my audience. Verse, how do we participate? How do we come in? How do we play our part? And you've shed so much light on that. Thank you so much. So thank you for this first session. This is the first segment, guys. We'll be going now for a 30-second break. But wait, this is the time you get your pen, get your paper, write down your questions, because after this break, we will be asking our guests in the house questions from the chat. So type in your questions, send in your questions. Let's hear from you. What do you want to know? What do you want to ask? As far as I'm concerned, I still have a lot of questions, but I want you guys to be to interact with us and tell us what you have to know. So now we'll be going on the 30-second break, and we will see you after the break. You don't want to miss out. See you then.
Unified hand in hand, we sing an anthem of hope, an anthem of peace. Our voice tomorrow sustains, leading the change our world needs to see, the change we shall be. Oh, 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 oh.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to H2O with Kz and Titi. And we have a special guest in the house. And she's been telling us, enlightening us about the report and how we can come in as youth. So straight to the questions. One of our audience is saying, this is from Royce. He says, which major models are using to really predict? Okay, what I think this person trying to ask is, which more major models do you think can really predict, and what are the major assumptions that you are involving in this? I really don't get that question, so I will have to think what this audience is trying to ask is, what are the major models you use to predict, I think, about the water forecasting and all? What are the major models you
Yeah, I'll
use?
take it. Yeah. Thank you for the question, Royce. We used 8 different global models. Most of them, I mean, we can share the link of the report here. We have all the details there, and we also have the model dictionary, so to say, which gives the details of what are the assumptions behind each model. And also, we have a technical annex which gives you the details of all the methodologies that was taken into account for the calculations that we did. So I think this question is technical, and this is not the place where I can explain the entire method, but I can definitely share. We can definitely share the link of the report here. It's in the WMO public website, and we can put a link here, and it's yeah, you can access both the report, the full report, as well as the annex, and you have all the answers there.
So
All
you
right,
hear that,
thank you
everyone?
so much.
Yes, we will be linking the report in this live. So hopefully in the chat, one of our colleagues will be linking the report. But moving on to the second question, I think it's from the same person, from Royce. How do you access this groundwater data unless you are in touch with each country?
Yeah, yeah. There are 2 ways to do this. Actually, I mean, yeah, of course, we need in situ information as well from the countries, which we get directly from the countries sometimes, and we also get it through the different global data networks. One of the examples for groundwater is EGRAC, so to say, and the other way to do this is also through GRACE data, which is remotely sensed information, which gives us the total terrestrial water storage, and this can be then disseminated or disentangled into the different components, and one of them being groundwater. So there's several ways to do this. We are finding out how we can do it best and how we can validate it in the best way for the next report. Only time will say.
Okay, thank you so much. Like she said, only time will say. All right. I think we'll take, because of time, I think we'll take the last. Guys, I cannot see any other question from here. Okay. So one of us is okay. Can I access the same? It's a question from Royce. Looks like Royce is really, really interested
The
with
star.
in this. Yeah. So he's asking, can I access the site where the report has been published, please? He wants to
Yes.
get a copy. Yes, sir.
I believe we pasted the link in the chat to the report, and yeah, it can be accessed yeah, through the link.
Yes.
And moving on. Oh, I believe we have another question. Do you think we can take another question, TT? Yes,
Yes.
we definitely
We'll take one more. Yeah. So,
can. Okay.
oh, do you want
This
to
is
read that?
from Yeah, this is from Andrew. We're so excited, to co-host this first episode. That's why. From Dr. Johan Stander, he asked, WMO access country. Oh, I believe this is a statement.
Okay.
WMO
I think
access
he's
country level.
responding to the question. Yeah.
Ah, okay, okay.
Yeah, so
Got
he's saying that WMO assess country and annually, so they kind of have their report based on the countries they have access to.
Yes. Yes.
Um, I think this is the last question from Maria Mercedes. She says, "What technology innovations you think will help you gather data in the future years?"
Very interesting question. What technology innovations? We in WMO we have several activities which are yeah, directed towards gathering better information and making it one stream flow, making it easy for sharing. We also have the WMO unified data policy, which encourages more sharing and gathering of information. But one of these in one of these initiatives, so to say, it's called WHOS, WMO Hydrological Observatory Observing System, and this ensures that we can fetch data. It works as a broker, and we can fetch data from different countries, from different sources. And we also have WMO global data centers like the GRDC. It collects all the stream flow information, meaning how much water is there in the rivers. And IGRAC collects, for example, groundwater information. We have ISMN, this International Soil Moisture Network, which collects soil moisture information. So there are several ways of doing this, and we are definitely exploring all of them.
Oh,
Wow,
thank
thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much, Dr. Mishra. And moving on, that actually officially ends our serious part. And the next segment is actually one of my favorites. And Titi, I believe this is your favorite too. And this is a very, very
Yeah.
fun and unrelated part, but we just added
Drum
it because
roll.
it's time
It's
for
time for waterfall. All right, everyone. Sorry, waterfall is a 60-second segment where we ask our guests in the house special, personal, and fun questions. We've asked the serious questions, we've had the water-related questions. This is the time we get to know her as fast as possible in 60 seconds. So, our
Okay.
special guest, we're going to be asking you a lot of questions. The aim is that you answer at least 15 questions in this 60 seconds. Okay, so this is how it goes. I'm going to be asking you questions like Christmas or Halloween. So you go Christmas. That's
Okay.
which one do you prefer? So Christmas or Halloween? Christmas. Are you
Okay.
ready?
Yes.
You ready, Kz? Okay,
I
your
am
60 seconds start now. Sparkling water or still water?
Still water.
Desert or sea?
C.
Okay, Nutella or peanut?
Nutella.
Coffee or tea?
T.
Dogs or cats?
Neither.
Pizza or sandwich?
Pizza.
Entertainment or history?
Entertainment.
Emails or meetings?
I would like to say neither, but emails.
Okay, Ronaldo fan or Messi fan?
Messy fun.
Oh, really? Teams or Zoom?
Both.
Oh, holiday or retreat?
Holiday.
Cash or credit?
Cash.
Work from home or work from the office?
Work from the office.
Flying or being invisible?
I didn't get the last one.
Okay, that was nice. You actually
I
set
was
the bar.
yeah,
Oh,
that was
thank
that
you
was
so much.
13
Go ahead,
questions in
Casey.
16 seconds. Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. Setting the bar high, Sulagna. We got you.
And you
Anyways,
watch
that wraps
football?
up. I don't think I can
And she
answer that
watched
much
football.
question. Pardon?
And she watched
But
football. I think she's a Messi fan.
oh, okay, gotcha. You're very cool, Sulagna. You're very cool. But
Yeah.
anyways, that wraps up our question and answer session. And before ending this whole session, don't hop off yet. We actually have a 30-second break before we debrief and give you guys a gist of what to expect next. So see you in 30 seconds.
See you. And welcome back. That was so nice. Kazaya, so what next for us in this segment?
So before we say our special thank you to Dr. Sulagna, we'd like to ask you what are three words that you would like our audience to take away, like this or like in general, or what are three words that you would like for us to remember?
Okay. Yeah, three words. That's difficult. Okay. Awareness, responsibility, and action. These are the three. But give me a second to just put it into context, yeah, we need to be aware and aware about what's happening around us, especially when we're talking about water, how much we have, what needs to be done, how do we plan, and feel responsible. It's not just the responsibility of the policymakers or the government to take care of it, but ourselves as well, as users, as scientists, as normal citizen as well, take the responsibility that we leave the planet better, in a better state than we came into. And the last one, of course, is action. Once you're responsible, you take actions accordingly. So awareness, responsibility, and action.
All right. Awareness, responsibility, and action. I'm sure going on with that, and I'm not going to forget. All right. So with this, we want to say a big thank you to everyone who has made this happen. Thank you so much, our special guest in the house. Thank you. And we cannot be here without the partnership of International Water Association and Younger Water and Climate Working Groups, and all our lovely audience and all our technical crews, and my beautiful, as always, co-host. Thank you so much for a good session. This has been exciting. This has been informative. When I started, I had no idea. Now I can say I think I have an idea and I know what to do. And I would definitely be responsible. I will be aware and I will take actions. So with this, we say a special thank you to everyone. Thank you for this. Any last word, Kz?
Yeah, thank you so much again, Titi. Thank you for being here. An honor to co-host this show with you, and to our special guest, Sulagna. Thank you so much for being here. And what's next? I guess this is the question that everyone is thinking of. I hope you all enjoyed the first show. So next week is second episode, and our special guest is Celine Novinario, and it will be a session on using storytelling in global issues. It's going to be Friday, January 27, same time, 15 GMT. We hope to see you there. Learn more from these amazing people from the water and climate space. And yeah, see you next week.
And do not forget to follow us on all social media platforms to get every update you need to get. Thank you so much. It's a great time
Thank you
having
so
you
much.
on.
It was a great show. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. And that's it from us. So we say bye from our hand. Let our
Bye-bye.
actions flow for tomorrow.
Chance to pave, chance to pave the way. Unify hand in hand, we sing an anthem of hope, an anthem of peace. Our voice tomorrow sustains, leading the change our world needs to see, the change we shall be. Oh, 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 it's time to change the tide of fate and set our hearts on fire, and we will never stop until we